they're pushing me, he panted. They left the broken trucks, then with 2 cranes they put James back on the rails. I'm a really splendid engine, he thought, and suddenly let off steam. Gordon never has to fetch his own coaches, he thought to himself, and he's only painted blue. What's the matter? James asked his driver. I'm very sorry, sir, said James. I will try hard to behave. I can and I will, puffed James. I've done it, he panted. I wish I was going with you, said James. I should love to pull the express and go flying along the line. Hello, Gordon. Is it tomorrow? Asked James. Come along, puffed James. They all had the same answer. Engines don't go fishing. James grumbled too. We get no rest. No fear, chuckled James. I'm not so fat as you. Gordon, James, and Henry were cold, lonely, and miserable. They wished now they hadn't been so silly. Yes, sir, said the 3 engines, we will. Rubbish, Henry, snorted James. You don't work hard enough. I am a splendid engine, answered James. Ready for anything. You never see my paint dirty. Dirty trucks from dirty siding. I've got to stop, groaned James. And James and Henry, pulling hard, managed to bring him to safety. But, said James and Henry together, the rest of us have never thanked her properly. Edward is impossible, he grumbled to the others. He clanks about like a lot of old iron. What shall I do? I can't stop. Help! Thank you for saving me. You were splendid, Edward. The Fat Controller told me to stay here. He sent a message this morning. We had spoken of backing signals, put in James. They need extra special care, you know. If you worked more and chatted less, this yard would be a sweeter, a better, and a happier place. We'll have some fun and order him about. The silly engines were flattered. He has very good manners, they murmured. Disgusting, put in James. Rusty red scrap iron, hissed James. James was just pulling out on their line from the station ahead. Any minute there could be a crash. I was held up at the station, and the viaduct made it worse. Shut up, said James. It's not funny. These trucks are playing tricks. That spiteful brake van too, put in James. Good riddance, that's what I say. Positively painful, remarked James.
So you found a scarf, eh? But legs go in trousers, not funnels. I'm an important engine. Everyone knows it. I'm as regular as clockwork. Never late, always on time. What, me? Me? Push Toby and pull my train too? Look out, Percy, chuckled James, or the dragon may gobble you up. If Gordon wasn't here now, I'd say it was him thundering by with the express. I don't need help on hills, replied James huffily. Gordon thinks he knows everything. Help, help, whistled James. I am the smartest, most useful engine on the line. Actually, Thomas, I'm taking the coaches. The Fat Controller asked me to tell you. I'm sorry I tricked you, said James. Percy goes to work at the harbour and I do his job, here, there and everywhere. Yes, he is. I am, stuttered James. I don't feel well at all. You look as bright and cheerful as my red paint. What's that, Duck? He snorted. Are you afraid of bees? They're only insects after all, so don't let that buzzbox diesel tell you different. Eee! Whistled James. That's the 3rd load of coal you've had today, Gordon, said James. Some might say you're being rather greedy. The Fat Controller will have to know, said James. Oliver, said James, has resource. Nothing should stop us. The Fat Controller relies on us to be on time. Be quiet, said James. It's not funny having jam brakes. But, added James, please remind us of the story so far. It's still early, added James. You just want to show off. James collected his passengers and respectfully puffed away. I know all about diesels. One crept into our yard and ordered us about. Disgusting, said James. What's the matter, Henry? There's no rain today. Stop worrying and do some work instead. Gordon, James and Henry were waiting to lead off. He'll choose me, of course, boasted James. He's high up in the air, coping with wind, rain and baking sun. Then he looks down and sees you 2 little engines being annoying. Despicable, agreed James. So much for knowing about everything. You got too puffed up in your boiler, so it serves you right.
If you can't push trucks properly, Henry, why not talk to a tree instead? You know how much you like the forest. But, sir, I've just been repainted. Can't Thomas or Percy do it? They're dirty and like working with trucks. Ooh, help! Cried James. Go away! Pa, said James. Gremlins don't exist. They're just an excuse when things go wrong and no one knows why. Pa, snorted James. It was the stupid truck's fault, not mine. Engines are meant to take special visitors round our island, not that whirlybird thing, James exclaimed. Why should a splendid engine like me take messy coal trucks instead of coaches? Percy or Oliver should do it. They're not as important as I am. The Fat Controller has ordered me to stop pulling coal trucks and go to the station instead. Something to do with Mrs. Kindly. What was that? Exclaimed James. He's just cranky on wheels, said James. Too loud, huffed James. We'll soon be burning our snowplows, said James. Pa, said James, thinking no one could hear. I could handle those diesels with bent buffers and a busted boiler. I am not like Percy, huffed James. I am not a middle engine and I'm not moving. What if the hot air balloon takes our passengers away? Chuffed James. What will happen to us then? Ah! Cried James. What's happening? Don't be silly, sniffed James. Jack Frost is not scary. Scary Jack Frost, cried James, and he raced away as fast as his wheels could carry him. Salty sorry he teased you, puffed James. You're a pouty puffer, Percy, teased James. The Fat Controller will choose me to collect her, boasted James. I'm the brightest and the shiniest. Speed isn't everything, said James smugly, and the other big engines agreed with him.